Hi everyone, welcome to this second week of TA 101 learning. Today the topic for us is the structure and function of the mind or personality. You have had a small introduction on TA, you have listened to the brief history of TA. In that presentation you have seen the definition for the structural analysis or the structure of the mind. The unit of the structure of the mind is called ego state. So we will start this week's learning by recapitulating that definition. The ego state is defined as a consistent pattern of feeling and experience directly related to a corresponding consistent behavior. This is something that Byrne has made. Eric Byrne has given this definition. What is important, what is key point in this definition is that the feeling, experience, and behavior is a unit which goes together, which is what we call as ego state. So Eric Byrne has developed this model, the PSC model of personality, to understand the ego states in a deeper way. So because we were all born as babies once upon a time, we still have this child part in us. So the remnant of the past that we have, what we were born with, is the child ego state in us. Now that we have grown up, we have this adult part in us. So this part is called the adult ego state. Because we were looked after by our parents, we learned a lot from them. So, that part of our personality where we have incorporated our learning from our parents is called the parent ego state in us. It's important to remember each ego states contain feelings, thinking, and behavior. In other words, when we are in the child ego state, we think, feel, and behave like a child. When we are in the parent ego state, we think, feel, and behave like one of our parents or parent figures. You can see a line around these three circles. It's called the frame of reference. That line is implying that even though we have these three parts, the three parts work together as one person. That is the personality model, which we call the PSC model. Let's understand each of these ego states in a more deeper way. So, the child ego state is what we begin with. Even in our grown up stage, we have this child ego state, which structurally contains all our childhood experiences. And when we are in a child ego state, we feel, think, and behave like a child that we were once upon a time. It's not like any child, it's our own child experience that we relive when we go into a child ego state. This is the childlike part in us. So please be very clear, it's not like one child out there. It's our own child that we were once upon a time. The adult ego state is the grown up part in us. It's our ability to function like a computer. In the sense, it receives inputs or information and gives out outputs or responses. This part in us has the ability to make decisions, do analysis, and make sense out of experiences or makes meaning out of self and others in the world. This is the part in us which enables us to sail through everyday life. Coming to parent ego state. This ego state is the part in us which feels, thinks, and behaves like one's own parents or one of our parent figures. It may not be our biological parent, it may be any parental figure who had been of great influence in our life, or it may be more than one person. So, the parent ego state is a part in our personality where we have recorded our learning from parental figures. So, there may be multitude of people we copy in different situations. It's like a stereo recording embedded in our psyche that functions inside and or sometimes editing or regulating us. So this record tells us whether we are doing right or wrong. So now when as you listen to me, you can relate to how there is an internal conversation happening inside you, admonishing you, reminding you what to do, and deciding, helping you to take a decision because this is the right thing, like that. So, this is something that has been incorporated into our personality from outside. Now, the ego state is also expressed in a functional way. What we saw just now is a structural model. There is also a functional ego state model. Let's see how it is. So, the same model, you can see the parent is divided into two with a vertical line, and the child part is also divided into two with a vertical line, because the child and the parent both have elements from our past experience, whereas adult is what is happening now. That is why it is not divided. And let's see what are the names given to these two different parts. One part of the parent is called the nurturing parent. We all know we were brought up because our parents nurtured us. They took care of us. So we learn from them how to take care of others. So that part of our parent part is called the nurturing, or that expression of our parent part is called the nurturing parent. It's a functional expression. It's not that the parent ego state is divided into two sections and one is nurturing and one is, it's a functional expression. The other functional expression of the parent ego state is a controlling function. We all have experienced controlling from our parents. It's not very pleasant experience, but we have experienced. This is part of our being disciplined and our being shaped into what we are happens through this controlling experience. So we also have learned from our parents how to control others. So a part in us functions like a controlling parent. Likewise, the child also has two parts. One part is called the natural child, that is the real us. In Malayalam, I express it like Nammaliലെ Nammalaya Nammal. But the child also has another part, which is called the adapted child, or the rebellious child, or the compliant child. Commonly, we use the word adapted child. Some other people use the other two words. Here, the child, as the child is growing up, gets adapted to the instructions from the controlling parent and learns how to be in the good books of the controlling parent. So, that part of our personality, which is very obedient, which is very socially compliant, is what we call the adapted child. It's again a functional expression of the child part in us. I'm just reminded of this statement by a teacher. Her name is Phyllis Diller. I thought it's very interesting. She says, we spend the first 12 months of our children's lives teaching them what to walk and talk, and the next 12 years we tell them to sit down and shut up. So, on reflection, on thinking, I thought it's very interesting statement. Now, how do we identify our ego states? Eric Berne says there are 4 ways in which you can identify. The first one is the behavioral method, or each ego state has specific behaviors. So the behaviors tells us which ego state is showing up. Social. Social method means by becoming aware of my reaction or response to a person, I become aware which ego state that person is in and which ego state I am coming from. So, in my interaction with somebody else, I become aware of the ego state. That is called social awareness or social diagnosis of ego state. The third way to diagnose ego state is a historical. This kind of diagnosis seldom ever happens in everyday life, but this happens in a counseling experience or a therapy experience. When a person describes his or her experience in a counseling situation, some historical conversations happen, remembering happen, and then you can diagnose historically what ego state that person had experienced. A fourth method of diagnosis is called experiential. It's also called phenomenological. The Berne uses very interesting words. Berne used the word phenomenological. It translates like experiential. This again happens only in psychotherapy or counseling, where a client says, I am re experiencing what I experienced some other time. So, being aware of which ego state is being re experienced now. So, it's a very deep level of diagnosis. So, these are the 4 classical ways of diagnosis of ego states. You may be interested to know why the word diagnosis is being used. See, Tia developed in the crucible of psychotherapy. So, Eric Berne developed all these terms from the crucible of his psychoanalytic practice and psychotherapy experience with mentally ill people. So, obviously, as a medical doctor, diagnosis was the word that he used always, and he brought it into Tia theory also. Now, egogram. Egogram is a tool devised by John Dewey. It's a behavioral diagnosis of people by answering a questionnaire. Now, I have uploaded a spreadsheet exercise on your classroom for making your ego state diagnosis. Do you want to do this? I guess you would want to, because most of you have written you want a experiential learning. So you will, if when you answer those questions, I have set it up in such a way that your scores will add up and your egogram will show up in the graph I have set on that spreadsheet. So please do the spreadsheet exercise, see the scores that you get for each of your ego states in your own judgment of yourself or your behaviors. And also see your egogram or the bar chart showing the way your ego states are expressed in everyday life. You can fill the questionnaire either taking into consideration your general behavior pattern, or you can take into consideration your office setup or home setup or wherever you want, or social setup. So, but whatever a type of answering, you decide to stick with that from question 1 to the end. So after you finish that and see this, go on to the next presentation. We'll have the discussion on this in the next presentation. Thank you.